Welcome to This Day. And coming up on the show today from Memorial Care Saddleback Medical Center, we have Dr. Mike Taub and Karen Sharp. They're going to be talking about geriatric emergency department over there and all the good work that they do. Also, Dave Min, he is running for State Senate, the 37th District. We'll get to know him and his views on some of the issues. And coming up for the Saddleback Valley Unified School District, they're having Measure M on the ballot. We're going to speak to Dr. Crystal Turner and one of their board members, Barbara Schulman, all about that. And the Globe headlines with Erica Ritchie.
All right, we have a few meetings to tell you about today. We've got the United Architecture Controls and Standards Committee meeting in the Elm Room at 9:30, the GRF Agenda Prep meeting in the Willow Room at 9:30, and United Governing Documents Review meeting in the Sycamore Room at 1:30, and Mutual 50 Open Session in the Towers Key Club Room at 2 p.m. So as I mentioned, it's National Caregivers Day, and around the nation, dedicated healthcare professionals serve those who require long-term or hospice care. They provide vital services, reassuring patients and families who care about them. Providers Association for Home Health and Hospice Agencies founded National Caregivers Day just in 2015 to dedicate the day to caregivers everywhere. Now, more than 11 million Americans are caring for an adult family member due to health needs or disability, while also caring for children at home. Compared to other types of caregivers, the sandwich generation caregivers are younger, more ethnically diverse, and newer to caregiving than non-sandwich generation caregivers. Many represent Generation X and millennials who are launching careers and families while caring for an older relative. Now, according to the National Alliance for Caregiving and Evercare, if we placed a value on the unpaid care these 65 million caregivers provide, it would be estimated at a worth of $375 billion. Although a caregiver's work varies with different sets of duties each day, there are some basic tasks that remain the same when caring for a parent or senior loved one, like assessing patients' medical needs, managing a care plan, preparing meals or housekeeping, and of course, transport and companionship. So we thank you to all of those caregivers out there. If you're taking care of your family, or you're taking care of a loved one, or maybe a friend, or you are a hired caregiver, thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, that is really a good message. And for those of you who have ever been down our social service department, although they do not provide caregiving, they do have a caregiver support group, which is really, really nice. So, you know, thanks to all you caregivers out there. I have new batteries in my pack now, so you can probably hear me. Sorry about that. All right, we got, well, kind of an up and down weather pattern over the next several days. This is going to be the warmest day of the week, 78 degrees. Areas of Southern California, including Orange County, are going to reach 80 today. So really summer-like weather. And then we switch, as you can see, with some rain coming in. Now, the way it looks, Friday morning will probably be sunny. Then we'll start to see increasing clouds. And at this point, they're talking about a 20% chance of late rain on Friday evening. Now, that could be as late as 10 o'clock or even later. It may not technically come in till even Saturday, but it is in the forecast. Now, Saturday, look at this drop in temperature for, for that day, and we're looking at anywhere from a quarter inch to maybe up to a half inch of rain, scattered showers on Saturday, just depending what area it's in Southern California. Now, usually the foothills get a little bit more, and the mountain areas than we do right here, but I would expect maybe from this area, half inch or less. I'm thinking more of about a quarter inch in this area, but it's nice, we need it. Then look at Monday. We're going to start to get the temperatures back up again. We're going to start to get offshore winds on Monday, slight winds, and then on Tuesday we could have some possible chance of some strong gusts of offshore winds on Tuesday of next week. So kind of an up and down pattern, but I really do. I mean, it's too bad that we're having rain on the weekend, but I love seeing that. This has been a dry January, a very dry February, and we don't like to see this. This is when we need to get our rain, and especially up in the mountains and the Sierras getting their snowpack. As you know, it's down by about 35% over last year. Let's look around Orange County today and look at these temperatures everywhere you go. Just absolutely Beautiful, yep, summer-type weather today for sure. I mean, really summer-type weather, not even summertime for February, but this is like, what you see in late June when you see these 80-degree marks here and there. Just absolutely nice. Palm Springs, only about 78 today, but overall, just some nice warm weather. And again, we'll get a little bit more rain. Tomorrow we should get a little bit more of an update of when that rain is going to come in tomorrow, but do expect it at least for sure on Saturday. We'll be back in just a moment.
Individual care, specialized care. At Harvard Eye Associates, your vision and quality of life can be trusted to a group of specialists that provide advanced technology for the treatment of cataracts, including laser-assisted surgery, a broad range of intraocular lenses, and astigmatism correction. Come join the circle of care at Harvard Eye Associates, where the future of vision is today.
At South County Lexus, we really are different. We're California's exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Lexus Plus is a new way of doing business. At a Lexus Plus dealer, you can expect an upfront, negotiation-free, hassle-free price right on the vehicle. The same price you'll find on our website, all the way through the transaction. At South County Lexus, we feel this is the way of the future, and this is the way the customer prefers to do business. South County Lexus, your exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Different, just like you.
Most real estate agents stick to the 3 Ps of marketing. They place it on the MLS, they put up a sign, and pray that it sells. Laguna Premier Realty takes a different approach to marketing your home. From professional and high-quality photos, to high-definition video, single property websites, and 3D virtual tours. We will make your property stand out and, most importantly, sell. So whether you are looking to list your current home or find your dream home in the Village, Laguna Premier Realty is here to help.
Did you know that the Laguna Hills Lodge was originally built as a place for relatives or friends to stay when they were visiting? In 1968, Laguna Woods' residents built the first 2 buildings of the lodge because they wanted a place close by for visitors to stay. Since then, the lodge has become the spare bedroom for the Laguna Woods' residents. The lodge has received the TripAdvisor Award of Excellence 8 years in a row. We invite you to stay in one of our recently remodeled garden rooms and take advantage of a special offer for Laguna Woods' residents, family, and friends.
Today, patients have many options for their care, whether it's their private doctor, in urgent care, retail clinics, nursing advice lines, and even telemedicine. So while patients do have many options for their medical problems today, some conditions, such as heart attack, stroke, and sepsis, truly need immediate care in the emergency department. Every minute does count. We're here ready to help 24/7, 365 days a year at Memorial Care Saddleback Medical Center Emergency Department.
Welcome back. Well, we have Memorial Care Saddleback Medical Center with us. We have Dr. Mark Taub and Dr. Karen Sharp, and we're going to talk about emergency services. Well, of course, we always need emergency services 24/7, so it must be a really difficult job. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
So let's start off just kind of getting an overview of what our geriatric emergency department is.
Okay, well, so here at Saddleback, we have an emergency department here. We've been here many years. We're actually built to help the community of Laguna Woods.
Right.
And over the years, we have focused on many things: stroke, heart attack, hip fractures. But more recently, we've really taken a special interest and effort into getting one of the only, well, actually, we were the first Orange County hospital to be accredited as a geriatric emergency department.
Okay.
And what that says is the American College of Emergency Physicians has certified us now as a center that is committed to taking care of geriatric patients, and we're putting special programs and processes and equipment in place to give the best possible care.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. And you said you were the first. Are you the only one at this
We're
point?
the only geriatric ED in all of Orange County, and just a handful across the entire country.
Well, what makes it different? What makes it different? I mean, obviously you said certain types of things are in place, but what would you do differently for the elderly as opposed to someone else?
So we prepared before our accreditation. We created a whole safer, nicer, cleaner environment by putting in new flooring, brighter walls, new fresh painting. We have gurneys that have nice soft mattresses on them to prevent pressure ulcers. We have a food and nutrition area that is available for our families and our patients.
Okay.
And walkers and canes and mobility assistance devices that help our patients when they're discharged to take those things home with them.
Okay, all right, well, that's awesome. And now let's talk about your roles. So let's start with you, Karen.
So I'm the emergency department director. I also oversee the Advanced Wound Healing Center in Mission Viejo. So my job is to oversee all of the activities, as well as my department manager, who is certified as an emergency nurse.
Okay.
He has extra education on geriatric, so he helps train his staff.
Okay, great. And how about you?
Yeah, well, I'm the medical director there,
Yes.
so I've actually been there 25 years since I first got out of residency. Been there my whole life, and I'm in charge of all the medical aspects, working with Karen, with her doctors and nurses.
Wow,
Yeah.
well, that's quite an undertaking,
Yeah.
but so far so good, right?
We love it, yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Excellent. All right, so there have been a few changes in the emergency department. Are you referring to what you mentioned earlier, or are there some other kinds of changes for the accreditation?
Well, those changes are the physical changes.
Okay.
We've also had additional education for, Dr. Taub has taken some educational opportunities for
Okay.
in geriatrics specifically.
Okay.
He also helps with the training for his physician staff, as well as my ED manager has taken education through the Emergency Nurses Association.
I was just going to ask you. So
Yeah.
it's through the association, and do they have to go to a class, or do they come to the folks at the hospital?
They actually took classes. He took classes, but we provide classes through our professional development department. Our age-friendly initiatives also help us with education with our staff.
Okay.
So it's just having that awareness of what our older patient population needs when they come into the ED.
What does the older population look like these days? I mean, I know we're growing, and
Yeah.
people over 65, it's getting bigger and bigger. So how are you combating that?
Well, a couple things. First of all, people are healthy. It's great. People, especially in this community, are taking such good care of themselves. It's important to know that our ED, we take care of 40% of our patients are 65 and older. So it's really everything we do. So when we call it a geriatric ED, it's really all we do. So again, it's focusing on things like hip fractures. We have a special hip fracture program in place now
Okay.
to make sure patients get straight to the OR and
Okay.
they get out of the hospital sooner. And just really with seniors, it's important to understand there can be chronic medical conditions. Some are taking many medications, sometimes 10 or more, that can
Right.
impact things. Sometimes their symptoms are different than younger people too. For instance, heart attacks without any chest pain. So again, that's all the type of things that we really focus on. But sure, it's a pleasure taking care of seniors. We love it.
Another thing is, I think that might be different, and please chime in, is fear. So when you're older, maybe you're a little more fearful than when you might not be the age of 65. Do you run into that?
Well, we do, and I mean, going to an emergency department, it's always scary because it could be noisy and chaotic. But like Karen said, we've done a lot of things to try and make the environment warmer, and our staff and doctors, it's what we do all day. And so we really take the extra effort to take the time, sit down and talk, listen, bring family members in when it's time to be discharged. If you're going home, we take time to make sure we've connected you with home health or your doctor. So it can be scary, but just ask questions, and we're here to help and make it as good as possible and get you feeling better so you can go home.
Awesome. And you had mentioned the age-friendly initiative. Can you tell us what that is?
So age-friendly is through IHI, which is the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. We're one of the only hospitals in the nation that has designed a age-friendly program throughout the hospital. So we work closely with them to identify and recognize when the patient's in the emergency department, the 4 M's. We call it the 4 M's. First is what matters. So what matters to the patient? So we want to be able to recognize that and design their care while they're in the emergency department to what matters to them. What outcomes do they want from their visit? One of the other M's is mobility. We want to address mobility, mentation. How are they having cognition issues?
Okay.
And the last is medications, as Dr. Taub had said. Many elderly patients have 14 or more medications, and we need to be able to look at that while they're in the ED and address those medications that they may be on.
Well, exactly. And when you do get somebody in there, and let's say they had so many medications, do you ever offer any type of advice, like maybe they shouldn't be on some based on what you're finding, or is that just something they should work with their doctor on?
No, if we see that they're on unsafe combinations and things of that sort, we would
Okay.
definitely give advice on that.
Okay.
It's called deprescribing. So that's something that we would look at, and especially as we get older, medicines have different effects. They can build up in our bloodstream, and sometimes all the doctors don't know what someone else has prescribed.
Right.
So it is definitely something we look at, and we always think about too how the medications might be the cause of why the patient's in the ER in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. What
Yeah.
else? What else would you like everyone to know about this accreditation?
Well, we've partnered with Laguna Woods. We would love, to let you know that we're here. That's why we're here, is for this community.
Right.
We just feel that we are more able to recognize and to help our patients feel comfortable in a very scary, fearful environment for many folks, and that we have the education and background and training at this facility above and beyond what other hospitals can provide in this area. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, and I'd mirror what Karen was saying, just let people know we're literally there 24/7.
Right.
Waiting to help anyone who comes there. And I'd also say it doesn't have to be something major like a heart attack or stroke. If it's something small, maybe you hurt your ankle, you have a cough, you're not quite sure if you need help, come on over and we'll figure it out for you. We're really there and right across the street ready to help anyone.
Yeah. Well, you're right there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, right across the street.
Right across the street waiting to help.
How convenient is that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was
Thank
very
you.
nice to meet both of you.
Thanks
and
for having us.
good luck. It sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. And if you want more information about what we just discussed, you can always go to memorialcare.org/Saddleback. We'll be right back.
Breast cancer takes patients down paths they never expected, and Memorial Care Comprehensive Breast Center at Saddleback can help navigate the way. We provide multidisciplinary breast care services for the early detection, diagnosis, and treatment of breast cancer using state-of-the-art technology in a personalized environment designed to meet the needs of each woman.
Did you know there are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today? So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services Office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The Subaru Outback is all new for 2020. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon. An available 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an extra-large touchscreen. Welcome to the best Outback ever, the 2020 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Come into Irvine Subaru and get complimentary maintenance included on all new Subarus and celebrate the Subaru A Lot to Love event.
The opioid epidemic is affecting countless lives, including young adults. Did you know approximately 45% of opioid prescriptions to adolescents are made by dentists, often after wisdom teeth removal? These drugs carry risks, but you can help reduce your risk or the risk for a loved one. If prescribed an opioid, ask your dentist to consider limiting prescriptions to 3 days, using over-the-counter pain relievers, and properly disposing of unused medications. For more information, go to shatterproof.org. This has been a message from Shatterproof, United Healthcare, and this station.
How are you making the most of your life, and do you apply that same devotion to planning your financial future? A train off its tracks goes nowhere. Having a financial plan that is consistent with your lifestyle will keep you on track through your retirement years.
Align Wealth Advisors specializes in creating a financial strategy that best fits your needs and your lifestyle, now and in the future.
Align Wealth Advisors. Life, wealth, balance.
Welcome back. With me today is Dave Min, and Dave is running for the State Senate, the 37th District, which is, of course, this one. And I'd like to welcome you back. You were here a couple years ago. So nice to see you again, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, first let's get a little background
Sure.
on you. You are a UCI law professor, right?
I am.
Yeah.
I teach contracts and banking law, but I'm not one of these people who spent my lifetime in academia. I actually had a career, about 10 years, primarily in public policy before coming to UC Irvine.
How long have you been at UCI?
So we arrived in 2012, and my wife is also an academic. She teaches with me. We're excited to settle down. I'm a native Californian. We had one kid at the time. We're in Irvine. You know, what else do you do in Irvine but have kids? So we had two more right after that. So we got 3 young ones today.
Well, my older daughter's boyfriend is finishing up UCI law, and I mean, it's fantastic. One of the things that we want to get into, of course, is while you're running. You know, you are at UCI Law, and which is can't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Why do you want to change careers?
Well, I don't know if it's a change in career. I just view right now as a time when politics is so important, and you know we're all focused on what's happening in Washington D.C. There was a big Democratic debate last night. Donald Trump, I'm sure, is making headlines on Twitter right now as we speak. But I think in Sacramento there's some important things that have to be done, and you know my own concern as the father of young children, as the son of immigrants who came here to this country from Korea in search of the American dream, is that we are, as a country, as a community, are losing our way, and we have to get things back on track. Now, I've spent my career in economic policy, researching and writing around these areas, and I think you know, there's a saying from the Greeks I like to quote. It's something like this: a civilization is great when its elders plant trees whose shade they know they'll never sit in. That's an ethos of investing in the long run, and we've just gotten completely away from that. Everything right now is about what we can grab out of the system right now. We've robbed the future to pay for the present, and we have to get back on track. The American dream is not what it used to be. The pathway to the middle class is not what it used to be. This country used to have a world-class infrastructure. Now we look like a third world country. We're not fighting challenges like climate change. We're not investing in education. I think we have to get back on track. If we don't start that process now, I fear for the future that my kids are going to inherit. They are not going to inherit the same country that we got. They don't have the same hope and optimism that I got to grow up.
And of course, you're running against the incumbent,
John Morlock. Yep.
Right, and he is. I think he's been on the Senate. I'm not sure how many years now.
He won in a special election in 2015, but he's been around politics in Orange County for a really long time.
So you're running against him, and what is the biggest differences between?
Sure. So
obviously, I should mention you're a Democrat. He's a Republican.
Sure. Well,
there's the first difference.
There's one difference.
Yeah.
He's a lot taller than I am.
Yeah.
And he's got a beard.
And he's got a beard.
I can't really grow facial hair. You know, I think the differences are, you know, around ideology. I think, you know, you can look at a few different things. He's not just a Republican. I think he's on the extreme fringes of the Republican parties in many respects. In 2016, he introduced a resolution welcoming Donald Trump to the presidency on behalf of California. He's the only person that put that bill out there. He had no co-sponsors. You know, I don't think that's necessarily where Orange County is. He's got an A rating from the NRA. I'm endorsed by the Brady campaign to end gun violence. He's someone who said climate change is not real. He has not seen any evidence that human behavior causes what we're seeing with our planet. I'm endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters. He's someone who's voted continuously against education. I am someone who's endorsed by the California teachers. So I think those are some of the big differences. But I think a lot of it goes to, you know, our attitudes on investing in long-term outcomes.
My wife is a teacher, but let's look at it that way.
Sure.
And the other way to look at it is it's also a union.
Yeah.
So, and people look at those two different ways. Let's talk about, you just mentioned education. And although you're not in the Senate yet, if you get elected, you'll be dealing with things like this. And just to get your views on things, we have Prop 13 coming up, and we want to mention that, first of all, the Prop 13 that is coming up now is for education. We'll get to the other one if we have time. This is a $15 billion bond measure, 35 years, I believe it's 35 years. So in total, they're looking at a payback of $26 billion, give or take. The first question is, this is what people, you know, this is going to saddle people 35 years of taxes paying off this bond. We have, I think, a $21 to $22 billion surplus. We have the state lottery system. We have all this. this is a huge amount of debt that's going to be put. You just said, well, we're paying for today.
Yep.
Putting out money today that's going to have to be paid, mortgage the future.
Yeah.
Isn't that what this is doing?
Yes and no. And so first of all, I just want to be clear. The Prop 13 you're referring to is not related to Proposition 13,
that's what I was saying.
Which keeps a cap on our property taxes. This Proposition 13, and there's a lot of confusion about this. Even among, I was talking to a teacher the other day who was asking about this.
They should have called this something different.
Yeah, they really should have. But Proposition 13 that's on the ballot this year has to do with a bond measure for school facilities. I want to be clear, this is not something that a state senator votes on. This is an initiative that the voters out there will vote on.
That is true.
And this is, I guess what I'd say first and foremost is, should I get elected, I want to be clear, I'm not going up there with the intent to raise any kind of taxes. This particular bill, is one that tries to find funding through a bond measure for facilities, to refurbish, build new schools, repair some of the schools that need repairing. And I guess my view is this. There's some investments that we can make right now that are more valuable over the long run than others. And I think our schools, I think everyone would agree, public education is at the foundation of future progress, future growth. My own parents benefited from education in this country. I benefited from public schools in this state. And so I think investing in schools is a good thing on net. Now, we'd have to look at the particulars. We want to make sure we're not overburdening ourselves with debt that's not payable over time. We have to be fiscally responsible. But in the abstract, I'd rather spend money on rebuilding schools, hiring teachers, things like that, than on things that have less long-term carrying value. The classic saying, schools not bombs, schools not prisons. There's some truth to that, when we build prisons and we spend a lot per capita on prisons, that ends up having a longer-term cost for us, does not return a lot, whereas when we invest in schools, we know we're producing minds, we're producing future workers, and we're going to need that workforce going forward. It's a type of investment that's easy to get away from as a politician, because who cares if we pull out money from schools in the short run? It's just something we see over 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but we need responsible leadership up there that's going to push for those long-term investments.
Okay, let's change the subject a little bit, because if you are elected, you will deal with this massive homeless problem.
Yes.
And the governor, just yesterday, I think it was yesterday, one of the things that he came out and said, and something that we kind of got away from, is, in essence, he said maybe we should relook at the fact of getting these, putting people, not incarceration, but years and years ago, there was a policy you could place people in some sort of an institution, for lack of a better word, for mental health, a lot easier than you can now. We got away from that and look at the problems. And the governor now has even said, you know what, we may need to rethink that. There are people out there that it should be easier to sort of force them to get help. Than right now, you can't do anything. What's your view on that?
Homelessness is a vexing problem, and we're starting to see this become a real problem even here in Orange County.
Absolutely right.
And one of the problems is related to a lack of affordable housing. Too many of my students who come out of UCI Law, they're making pretty good salaries, are having trouble finding a place to afford. People are living 4 or 6 people in a 2-bedroom apartment to make ends meet. We have a real problem in this state that is also a problem in Orange County of a lack of affordable housing. That's causing people to have to resort to measures like living in their cars, crashing on friends' couches. That's the first step to homelessness. So when we think about homelessness, a lot of us just think about people who are on the streets, who have mental health issues, who are talking to themselves. But by the time they're at that stage, they've probably been homeless for several years. The first steps of homelessness are the ones we never see, people that are kind of invisible to us. They're because they don't want to be seen. What we have found repeatedly, what the data has suggested, is that homelessness is a very costly problem for society. It does make sense to take interventionary measures. But I need to think about what the data says. And so one of the things I would like to do is really study this problem comprehensively. I support Governor Newsom's prioritization of ending homelessness in the state. I think the next steps are, let's figure out what the experts say on this. Let's start commissioning some serious research. What are the solutions to homelessness? A lot of people think it's this housing first approach. A lot of people are advocating more forced institutionalization of people on the streets. Let's talk about this. Let's think about what the right measures are, and let's refer to data. I can tell you all day, here's what I think, But at the end of the day, what I want to do is refer to people who are experts and refer to the science and data. That's how we're going to solve problems, not through my gut feeling on issues.
And of course, affordable housing, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It means high density. A lot of people don't want that. That's
no
right or wrong, right?
That's
a really hard one. What are some of the other, pick out maybe one or two key issues? And
sure.
I know if we have time, we'll talk about the other Prop 13, but that's not for a while from now. I'd rather hear what are the two things.
Sure. I mean, gun violence is a father of kids.
Yeah.
It is remarkable to me that we have tolerated this level of gun violence. We are now used to news stories almost every day of another mass shooting. I grew up, I was an NRA junior marksman. People, you probably wouldn't expect that looking at me. I shot rifles, 22s, but we were taught gun safety first and foremost. We were taught responsible gun ownership and gun handling. I think that, unfortunately, the gun lobby has gotten far away from that. It's become an advocacy for selling more and more weapons of war that really don't belong on our streets or belong under highly supervised areas. Again, I think this is an area where we should be commissioning studies. How can we reduce gun violence the way that we reduced automobile accidents and fatalities a generation before? We should be thinking about outside-the-box solutions. And we should be ending subsidies that support the proliferation of more guns. So I've called for an end to the gun shows at the at the Orange County Fairgrounds. I think that's a very small step, but it's one of many steps that we'll have to take to really solve the problem here.
Okay, so a very comprehensive view, not just like throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, we got to be smart.
We have to look.
There is a Second Amendment. We have to be mindful of that, but I think there are steps we can do to reduce gun violence that are consistent with the Second Amendment.
All right. We got another couple minutes. Sure. Another issue that's on the top of your list?
Sure. Climate change is a big one for me. Clean air, clean water, protecting our coastlines. I guess you could lump that all in the environment. My view is we have an obligation to the next generation to preserve a world worth living in, a world that has beauty and natural beauty, and clean air, clean water. These are things that we take as birthrights. They may not always be there. So we have to be smart about our thinking about our future. One of the things I would like to explore in the state Senate is finding ways to spark a green technology boom. Why not here in Orange County? We have all of the elements one would need for a booming Silicon Valley type economy here around green technology, batteries, renewables, carbon capture, things like that. We've got a great research institution that I work at, UC Irvine. And so
plug.
Why not think about ways that we can facilitate research, development, commercialization of that research, exporting that research. California, by the way, is responsible for only about 1.5% of the world's carbon emissions.
Right. Yeah.
So we can't move the problem all by ourselves, but we have shown the world that we can create products that are technologically advanced that can help solve problems. Why not do that with our environment? We put a person on the moon in 7 years when we made it a priority.
Yes.
We can solve the climate crisis if we devote our resources and time to it.
All right, very good. And UCI is certainly a great research institute for sure.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you on, and maybe I'll see you again.
Yeah.
And of course, more information, very easy, davemend.com. You can find out all about his views there, a little bit more in depth. And
if I could make one last plug.
Of course.
Your ballots are in the mail right now.
Yes, they are.
So you have to vote by March 3rd. Consider voting for me. It's an important election. I think the future of our country is potentially at stake. California has got to lead right now. If we don't lead as a state, who will? We're the 5th largest economy in the world. We're the most populous state in the country. Right now, I view us as being in a crisis as a country. Our state has always led. Let's continue to do that. Let's put people up there who want to lead our state.
All right, Dave, thank you very
Ken.
much.
I appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
At our new Memorial Wave Imaging Center in Laguna Woods, formerly Orange County Diagnostics, you can expect the same precise imaging, multiple modalities for your imaging needs, and the same friendly staff with medical providers like Dr. Syed Sharakni. The Laguna Woods Transportation Service offers convenient access right to our door, and we continue to provide the care and compassion that you expect from our new Wave Laguna Woods location.
Vacation where you live. The Towers offers the amenities and services of a hotel, daily lunches and 3-course dinners, weekly housekeeping, spacious floor plans with panoramic views, on-site maintenance, daily activities, and a 24-hour reception desk. Visit us at towers@lagunawoodsvillage.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Do you know how secure your money and personal information will be on your next real estate transaction? Escrow Options Group is the only escrow company trained by the FBI on fraud. We also carry cyber fraud protection and have received the largest industry security measure, the SSAE certification. Ask your real estate professional to open escrow with Escrow Options Group to ensure the protection of your funds and personal information on your real estate transaction.
Welcome to Harvard Eye Associates. We have been proudly serving Orange County for over 40 years. We are excited to announce our Laguna Hills location will be moving to a larger, state-of-the-art facility in January 2020, located a block away from our previous location. Our new facility will be conveniently located next to Saddleback Hospital and across from Nordstrom Rack at 23961 Calle de la Magdalena. Come join the Circle of Care at Harvard Eye Associates, where the future of vision is today.
Well, coming up on the ballot for this area is Measure M, and this is for the Saddleback Valley Unified School District. This is a measure that will fund close to $500 million to improve the classroom facilities. And today I have the superintendent of that district, Dr. Crystal Turner, and also one of the board members, Barbara Schulman. I'd like to welcome both of you back. You were here in November. And Barbara, how long has it been?
I think it's been about a year since I've been here. Yes.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Ken.
Yeah, it's great to have you both on. And I always, I think the last time you were on, I always like to say a caveat here. We're involved with the district. My wife has been a teacher with the district for 23, 24 years. And these ladies know her. My daughter goes to RSM Intermediate and all. So let's talk about this measure. And as I said, it's almost $500 million, I think $495 million, am I right? And it is a 30-year bond, am I correct about that?
It's between 25 and 30 years, depending on the rates at the time we buy them.
All right, so first I went on and although it's like 400, 600 pages, I did skim through the facilities plan. And in general, yes, there'll be some buildings built, but this is really modernization of the facilities. Am I right?
That's correct, yeah. So most of our facilities are between 40 and 50 years old, and the state does not give us ongoing money at a rate that we can expect that we'll be able to modernize our facilities. And so we've done a really good job. For example, with Measure B, we were able to take the bond money that was for that particular measure and match it with state funds to almost double what we were able to do, which was amazing. But we still have so many facilities needs. And if you go through site by site, which is what that huge document you're talking about is, our facilities master plan, it outlines all of the different schools that really need to be updated. It can't be done on what we get for students and their attendance alone. It's just not enough.
Okay, and when I looked at that, I looked at the three schools my daughter was involved in, Melinda Heights, RSM, and then it will be Trabuco Hills High School. Barbara, let's talk about, let's go back a little bit and go back to Measure B. And that was 2004, was it a 30-year bond as well, I think?
25.
25. So
yes.
we're still paying on that.
9 years.
And you know, some of the outcome was many of the gyms that we played basketball in, and we've seen that. So on one hand, you know, we saw the evidence of that. We saw how that helps, and I don't think there's any concern about the schools needing what they need, but there is obviously the tax burden that's there. So we're still paying on a bond where we've exhausted those funds, and now we're going to have a bond that we're going to be paying on. My daughter will be 40 years old by the time it's paid off, something like that. You got to look at reality on that. May I ask why you don't instead go for a 5 or 6 year bond and use that and then come back again, and so you're not saddled that long with that debt?
Because when you do the short-term bonds like that, it doesn't give you, frankly, enough money to do the improvements that are necessary. And one way to really look at it is when we have these longer-term bonds, it helps the future communities as well support the kids in the schools. So it sort of spreads out the cost, if you will, over future generations to come. So we know that our schools need fixing. We know a lot of our buildings will last for 20 and 30 years, and they really then need to be modernized. And so if we pay over 25 to 30 years, your generation and the next generation can all help support our schools to make them the best they can.
Okay.
And there's another thing. With our Measure B, we did refinance so that we did bring the interest rates lower for people.
Okay.
So as that happens, we always think of the taxpayers, always. That's like I'm going to tell you, the children in the school district, but the taxpayers, it's very important. So we have lowered it. You may not notice that it went down $2 a month, but we have done that. And what we have done is really for the benefits of the children. And that's what I hope everybody here remembers, is that Measure B did a lot of wonderful things for our school district. I live in the district also, so I pay the same money that you do.
Right.
And my children are 40. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But these generations are going to make differences in our life. They're learning to program, they're learning to do all these things, and we don't even have science labs for them to do it. And we need to have doctors who will be able to cure cancer. We need somebody to be able to build a better, a better car that's going to use green energy or whatever. We need to do that in our district. People move into Saddleback for our schools. We are great schools, but we need to keep them up. We can't have bathrooms that you can't go in and flush a toilet.
Well,
let's be very honest.
You're a board member, so
I'm a board member now. Yes.
Yeah. So part of that is you look over overall plans, you look at the reserves and things like that, and how the money is coming in. What about that? What about are there the reserves that are there?
But this money is different because it's for facilities, and it is overlooked by an oversight committee, which anybody from Laguna Woods could try to get on the committee to help make decisions of what's happening. It's called an oversight. I really don't get to say we're going to do this and this. We talked about our master plan, as we had said.
Right.
So we know what we need, but when it gets down to it, the oversight committee is the one who really makes decisions on where the money's spent, where it's spent first, and how it's done. And that's open to anybody in the public.
Okay.
I don't get to do that. I can't sit on the oversight committee. They wouldn't want me, but okay.
And just to that point, they use a third-party auditor to make sure that we are spending the money appropriately, and the role of that group, that Citizens Oversight Committee, is the one who makes sure that we're spending the money in the right way.
Okay.
And we just closed out Measure B. We've spent all of those funds at this point, and we got yet another clean audit because we do spend the money in the way that it's supposed to be spent. Not on salaries, it stays local. I think it's really important to mention too, there's a lot of confusion between Proposition 13 and Measure M.
And people are looking at that going, wait a second, we're looking at $15 billion. Aren't you, let's say that goes through, aren't you guys getting some of that money?
At this point, we don't know if we will get any of that money because we are not serving enough of a low-income population.
Okay.
So right now, that has not been clarified for us at all if we will receive any of those dollars. Measure M is local. It's separate. Our money that we get from Measure M would not go to the state. It stays in our area.
Okay. Some of the things that Measure M will cover. Just I know last time you were on, you spoke about obviously the restrooms, but just the classroom facilities in general that are aging.
Sure. So first up is, of course, modernizing our STEAM facilities. And STEAM, again, is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. And that's one of the components. We have upgrades for our classrooms. We have some furniture that is, not to be glib about it, it's 50 years old, 40 and 50 years old, and it's in cemetery rows because when you're there, it makes you feel like you're going to sleep.
Should we call Antiques Roadshow? Have them come by, maybe?
They might be able to get
They might
something
be
for
able
us.
to,
Maybe we
yes.
can put that towards the new furniture. So new furniture that's flexible and allows
Right.
students to move around and collaborate the way that our kids are learning these days. Also, these beautiful monitors that you have here in the
Right.
studio, that would be in every classroom, as well as voice amplification for our teachers and our students so that when we're talking in the front of the classroom or the side of the classroom, everyone in the classroom is able to hear what is happening.
Right.
So
And,
when I went to a school this weekend and students were giving reports and they were using the amplification, which really allowed, because they have little voices, and it allowed all the students to hear and ask questions. It was amazing to watch in one of the schools that has been modernized.
Right. And I remember last time you were on in November, you also talked about just in general how classrooms are viewed as the way they learned, especially as you get to the upper grades in high school. No longer you're always looking at in a row. You're bringing together clusters of students. They work together. Even in, we see this in lower grades now. And one of the things that you talked about then is the need for the type of flexible furniture that can facilitate that.
That's right. So our teachers in Saddleback are phenomenal, and they have really upped their game with their teaching and their innovation without having any of the things they really need to do that. And so what we've been able to do is pilot some classrooms to show what the flexible furniture can do. It is revolutionary. I can't tell you, when you have children sitting at tables versus in rows, how much more learning and thinking happens. Instead of one child answering the question with a raised hand, you can say, would you please jot down your answer on your whiteboard table so that I can
Right.
make sure everyone in the class is participating. The level of learning is through the roof when we have the facilities that we need.
Right.
It's so important.
So let's get back again to the bond measure itself. And according to your website, you're looking at it will not exceed $34 per $100,000 of assessed value. Again, as you said, that could fluctuate a little bit, not above that,
Right,
but it could
correct.
be below that. And assessed value is not what your home is selling for.
Right.
It's when you get that taxes every November, it's going to say the assessed value of your
Correct.
home. So just depending, that could run whatever it might be, $100 to maybe $250 a year
Right.
for South Orange County, for your district, am I right?
Correct. So the average home price in our area for assessed value is $500,000. So if you do $34 times
Right.
5, that would give you the number about $130 per year,
Right.
which is less than $10 a month.
Okay.
And
All right.
think about what it's doing for the children. That's what I want everybody here in Laguna Woods to know. It is so important that we give our students what they need. And I know that you care about students. I know that from being here and coming to many things you do. We've got to give them what they need. And when you're thinking about that really small amount every month, to know that it stays in our community and our children get it, I can just ask you, please vote for Measure M.
All right. Thank you very much. And it's great to see you again, Crystal, as always.
Thank you.
Barbara, who
And
I've known
always.
for years.
Yes.
And we'll be right back.
Vacation where you live. The Towers offers the amenities and services of a hotel, daily lunches and three-course dinners, weekly housekeeping, spacious floor plans with panoramic views, on-site maintenance, daily activities, and a 24-hour reception desk. Visit us at towers@lagunawoodsvillage.com.
Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast? And the world didn't seem so complex? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated and still a bit uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy-to-understand financial advice and customized roadmaps for the road ahead, from tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, backed by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. We can be your single point of contact.
A single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who can be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. To schedule a no-obligation meeting, simply contact us today.
Under the RadNet umbrella, prostate imaging is one of our most important men's health initiatives. We have an exclusive team of prostate-dedicated radiologists that read thousands of images from all around the globe. These radiologists are utilizing advanced technologies such as prostate MRI, which offers some of the most detailed visual representations of the prostate gland. When it comes to men's health issues, listen to your body and take a proactive approach. Talk to your doctor, begin screening, and take charge of your health.
Welcome back. Of course, it's always exciting when Erica Ritchie is here from the Globe, and she is here. Thank you so much for showing up with some excellent info.
I love that introduction. Thank you.
Do you like that?
I do
Okay.
like that. I do like the idea of always being exciting. Good morning, villagers. I hope you're having a lovely morning at the start of your day. We've got anyone who's interested in learning how to paint. We've got a Festival of Arts artist, Mary Aslan. She's a pastel painter. She's coming to the let's see, what is it here? The Performing Arts Center at Clubhouse 3, and she'll be there on February the 24th, and she's going to teach people about painting. She does a lot of painted vases, colorful florals, figure representation, and so she's going to do a 90-minute presentation where she's going to either have a portrait of someone or use a photograph, and then just kind of show people how she does her magic. And the event is free to the public, and then for association members, it is free for association members, I should say, and then $3 for guests.
Okay.
I was going to do it the other way.
Beautiful. It's beautiful work.
Yeah. She's been an artist at like I said, at the Festival of Arts since 2000. So if people are interested, they could probably pop down there and see her this summer, I would imagine.
Okay.
But so that'll be a neat opportunity. Then I guess the Third Mutual is getting close to being, as far as the number of leases that they allow, it's getting close to being full up.
Wow.
And so they decided to put a kind of a program together in order for people to be waitlisted if they're interested. So if you are interested in leasing something there, then I guess you can put your name in and be on the wait list, and then as things become available, you have an opportunity to move in there.
Okay.
Then we've got the, this is exciting. So we've got a new director of security services, Carlos Rojas, and he was the police chief in Santa Ana. And he's been at the Santa Ana Police Department for 27 years, and we have a profile on him in the paper, so that'll be a fun read for anybody who wants to learn more about him. I guess he is replacing the Tim Moy, who was the former commander, and I think the story probably includes a little bit of an interview with him as well too. So that is that, and then we've also got some fun entertainment coming up in the next few weeks. We've got the Champagne Pops that's going to be presented on Saturday, February the 29th, and that'll feature Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder. And the tickets for that are range from $23 to $34, and that'll be at the Performing Arts Center. And then on March the 7th, we've got Frankie Avalon coming, and he's going to, the tickets there, I guess, are quite a bit more expensive. They're $40 and $50. So those are some, I guess the $40 are for reserved balcony seating, and the $50 is for reserved orchestra seating.
Okay.
So, so if anyone wants to turn out for
that.
There's
A lot of good stuff.
Some fun things to plan in your calendar. Then we've got letters this week.
Okay.
And one comes from, let's see here, a group of Mahjong players looking for a room to play
Mahjong.
in. Oh, Mahjong.
It's Mahjong.
Mahjong, sorry.
Mahjong.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, Mahjong. And you can explain what that is, actually. But they're looking for a room to play on Fridays. There's the tree trimming in the United Mutual, a request for hearing loops in the Performing Arts Center, and a letter from Maria and Evan Given praising the plumbing staff.
Good.
And they write this. They say, our guest bathroom toilet was stopped up on Friday, and water was coming out of the bottom of it when we plunged it.
Oh.
We called residential services, and Orlando came out that day and worked for more than an hour to remove the stoppage. Unfortunately, there were so many roots in the line that he had to put in a work order for someone to come Monday with more equipment. On Monday, Maura and Eric arrived a little after 7 a.m. and worked for 2.5 hours. All of the men are so extremely experienced, professional and personable, and we are so grateful to VMS for responding so promptly.
Excellent.
So that is, that's awesome. A nice shout out to the people here who are doing some good work.
Perfect.
And then we've got, finally, if you were born on February 29th, or if you know somebody in the village who was, the Laguna Woods Globe wants to talk to you. So we're looking for anyone who was born on February 29th. And you can send an email with your name and birth date and to our editor, Jennifer Carmarker. So that's jcarmarker@scng.com. Or you can call Laguna Woods Globe at 944-837-5200. So
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for all the information.
Yes, you're
and
welcome.
and I know next time we're going to talk a little bit more about some military stuff that you had done, because we unfortunately have run out of time. So thank you again, and you all have a great day in the village, and we will see you tomorrow.